Yo, this is Jimmy Webb from I Need More right here in New York City. You're listening to Appetite for Distortion with Brando.
You know where you are.
This is Appetite for Distortion.
And welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode 164. My name is Brando. Happy, as we're recording this, happy third night of Hanukkah. Sorry, I have to clear my throat. And Merry Christmas Eve. Izzy Stradlin just tweeted a couple hours ago, happy holidays, whatever you, Festivus for the rest of us, whatever. This is a great time of year where people are actually nice to each other. I guess you want that all year round, but at least that's, as a Jew who used to hate Christmas as a child, everyone was at least nice to each other. It was true. I felt left out. That's why, Jimmy. Before we get to our star of this episode, first, actually, you're the shining star. Now I feel like I'm insulting Lee by accident. Lee, a friend of the show now, fans may remember her from last episode. Lee Williams from the UK. How are you?
I'm
Hey,
good,
Lee.
thank you very much.
What time is it there? Is it Christmas yet where you are?
It's Christmas Eve, 10 p.m.-ish. Winding down time for the evening now and just chilling out and waiting for Santa to arrive.
Yabba dabba doo.
Does Lee, and I'll probably ask you this question later, Jimmy Webb, do you buy gifts for your friends and family or do you make them?
Both. Depends how busy I am, but this year has been exceptionally busy. So I have done quite more buying than I would do making, but it varies from year to year. Okay,
right on. And we're going to talk, and I'm going to ask you this question, Jimmy, later. This is my weird setups, and even though I keep bringing you in. For those who, if you're just listening to this episode as a standalone, the last one we had Lee on in a profile that we do, a fan profile called Fan Obsession. And she also, I guess for lack of a better word, won the opportunity to co-host because she, even though it was on her it was on her list of things to do during her trip to New York, was to go to Jimmy's store, I Need More. She reached out to me before, I guess, the trip or when you landed or whatever, and you're like, do you want me to get you Jimmy Webb as a guest? I said, yeah, as long as, we don't have to turn his arm or twist his arm or anything. So I wanted to make sure that you were a part of this conversation. And I appreciate you joining us so late Christmas Eve via Skype, Lee, and you'll be my co-host. And, as if I ramble on too much, which happens quite often, just tell me to shut up and take part of this conversation with the great Jimmy Webb. But that being said, Jimmy Webb here in studio. I feel like I've seen you everywhere, but in person. And it's just such a pleasure to not just speak with you, but to meet you, shake your hand. You're just such a warm personality, and you made me feel good, before even meeting you about doing this podcast and how this is special to you. And welcome and thank you for hanging out.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And it's an awesome, awesome place to be on Christmas Eve. Or as you said, whatever you're celebrating, but it is Christmas Eve. It is the third day of Hanukkah. I don't know if it's Kwanzaa or whatever. It's like whatever day of the week it is. It's fabulous because life is awesome.
Is your store open today?
No, you know what? I gave it a big break. Because we're closed every Monday. That's the day we close, like a hairdressing shop in New York or something.
Okay.
And it's, and then I was like, let's take Christmas Eve off and let's take Christmas Day off and then just all come back full force on Thursday. And I wanted to give my amazing employees a wonderful break and some time off. I have wonderful people that work in the store, like they're angels and elves and hard workers, and they're very dedicated to the spirit of the store. They get it, and it's awesome to have people that work for me that get it. It's awesome to have Lee's line in the store. You mentioned Lee, but Lee's become a friend And she also has an amazing line in the store of her hand-painted vests and jackets. They're awesome, you know.
I love it. And just to be here in this moment again, we got Lee's story last time of, her line is in your store, and that says so much about, I mean, her work speaks for itself, but for someone like you,
absolutely,
who must get so many offers to work with people, to welcome it in your home, essentially, the I Need More home.
Yes, although I'm courted a lot to have merchandise in the store, and it feels wonderful to be courted or have done this so long, to have your opinion or what you do respected and appreciated. But it didn't take much courting from Lee, dude. I just saw her work, and I could so see it was done from the heart, and it was done with truth, and Slash being the common denominator in it, because it came through her friend Pat, who used to, I think, babysit Slash when he was young or something like that. So it was all based in love. And then when I saw her work, I was like, this definitely has to be here, you know?
I'm curious how we got here, like in this moment, how people know. I feel like there's always a different reason why somebody knows about Jimmy Webb. So I want to know essentially where you came from. I know you came from your parents. We don't need to go back that far. But where did you grow up? Because I want to know the younger Jimmy Webb and how you're still, kicking ass.
Well, my story's pretty well known because I say it all the time, or I feel like it's known. I ran away here when I was 17. I ran away to New York City. It was 1975. I was 16 years old. I came with my clothes in a pillowcase. I didn't know anybody. I mean, I did get here through two people I met while hitchhiking around that flew me here. But basically, I came here alone in 1975. I was 16 years old. Yes, I did graduate high school. And because I'm always like, finish the things you don't want to finish, because it teaches you to do what you don't want to do to get where you gotta go. And that's so rock and roll. And I just arrived in this magnificent, gorgeous city in 1975. And it was so amazingly beautiful here and so diverse. I, came to Wonderland. It was awesome.
For me, and I don't know about how you feel, Lee. Since I'm a New Yorker, but I'm young. I wasn't born until '83, so I heard stories of New York City in the mid to late '70s.
Yeah, it was magical. It was very Taxi Driver. It was very Midnight Cowboy. Everything you've seen. Very later on, Paris is Burning. All this very Panic in Needle Park. I came here from I call it a hillbilly town, a small country town, and when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15 years old, I was walking, we call it, to the creek, a little stream. And we were going to it was one of my first times drinking Boone's Farm and tango with older friends. And on the transistor radio came Take a Walk on the Wild Side. Do, 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 do. Little transistor you held up by your ear. And my friend was like, listen to this song. Do you hear this song? And I was like, oh my God. It was talking to my heart. And I knew in that moment I was going to take a walk on the wild side. I didn't know what the wild side was. I didn't know what a tranny was. I didn't know what a leather daddy was. I didn't know what a Park Avenue lady was. I didn't know what a Wall Street businessman was. I'm using all of them because there's a little bit of all of them in that song. And I knew I was going to have to go there. And I ended up there. You know what I mean? So it was awesome. And I came from a town where I had a pet goat. Only met one black person until I was 13. So I came from a very small...
Where was this?
Wineskill, New York.
Okay.
Like 2 cities outside of Albany. There's Albany, Troy.
Upstate, okay.
And then there's Wineskill. And, I grew up eating, making mud pies and playing on jungle gyms and like a typical little boy doing things your imagination takes you to do. But I knew I needed more. It's funny that my store ended up I Need More, named by Iggy Pop, my big back tattoo. And because I get more and more all the time.
I was going to ask you, and I'm glad you answered it, in case if I forgot it, but where the name of the store came from, I Need More. That's kind of the theme, I guess, because that's what it sounds like you were when you heard, right. the song on the radio. So what really attracted you? Was it just that attracted you to New York? And
New York just came very mishap, because it was supposed to be like a destiny. I was hitchhiking. I went to college in Connecticut to get out of my small town. I was 16. I was a baby. I was this little innocent white boy. you know, and I went to college in Connecticut. I ran into 2 buddies. I kind of sucked at school. I didn't want to study, you know what I mean? And I took off with 2 friends and hitchhiked to Florida. And I was the littlest and the weakest, they thought. But, dude, I was the strongest. I was the only one that made it out, dude. And, you know, we hitched around Florida. And then I ran into these 2 guys that, like, put me in this big hotel. And I stayed with them. They just thought I was cool and nice. It was the innocence, I think. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my karma. I don't know what it was. But there was no real demands on me except just to be young and me. And then they flew me to New York, and here I ended up. Oh, then I bleached my hair. Then magic happened.
What did you want to do other than rock and roll? Was there something you set out to do when you were younger? Did you grow up dreaming of owning a clothing store?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so.
You know what I mean? You had to let the universe unfold the way it should. I've done a lot of things. And I think the thing I wanted to do, which I still want to do, is be true to myself and make people happy.
Amen to that.
That's all I want to do.
I feel like Lee just wants to say you're doing that. You're doing that right now.
You know, well, my career in life ended up being, first of all, I can't believe I have a career. You know, I don't sell clothes. I don't own a store. I don't do anything. I just make dreams come true. I get to make people happy every single day. Even social media. I didn't want to do social media, and it was Slash that talked me into social media. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want everyone's opinion. Everyone seems angry. They're saying rude things to each other. And when I was leaving my old job, it was Slash. He was just like, Jimmy, you need to start social media. I was like, but I don't want to. I don't want friends that way. I don't want people I don't want to know. I want to communicate. He goes, Jimmy, you need social media. And I was just like, he said, just do an Instagram then. It'll take like minutes. You just have to post one thing every day. And I remember I was sitting there and I was like, well, okay. I was like, and he said, and you're going to move on. We know kind of what you're going to do, but you're open to what the universe is going to have you do. No, we didn't know what I was going to do. Truthfully, how I came to owning I Need More as a magical rock and roll journey experience. But back then, and I turned to Slash, we were on the phone, and I said, well, can it be a storybook about rock and roll? And he said, it can be anything you want it to be. And I was just like, wow. And when I started, you know, Jimmy Webb NYC, I started it with a very positive thing about the love of life, the lust for life, as I call it, without the liquor and drugs. You know what I mean? The real deal, going for it way. And a storybook about the good things in life. Fortunately, right after I started it, I met up with Guns N' Roses in Vegas for the first shows. So I have to admit that made it blow up, the post. But the positiveness in it and the love in it made it grow really, really big. So to know I get to spread love every day through social media is awesome. You know,
you do, and I feel it. I follow on Twitter, I follow on Facebook. You know, you're one of those people, and I find it endearing.
Yeah.
You love the caps lock.
Yeah. Well, you know what the caps are? I know people are like, why are you yelling? It's like, I'm not yelling. I'm like Iggy. I'm being passionate. You know,
I had to.
Driving it on home. And then when I had to start the I Need More one, it was even more awesome because I had to balance too. And how I do it every day, dude, because it's that kind of like pain and a little bit of pressure, pain in the ass. It's just like I get up, I sit in silence, I say a prayer, meaning I just throw it out there, and then I just, you know, I usually have a picture in mind or something will pop up that day because now my life's gotten so big, and I'll just post it and speak from the heart.
You know what? I'm sat here nodding my head and preach absolutely everything because it's so very, very rare in this life that you meet genuine people with a genuine purpose. And just like Jimmy says, it's not about selling a piece of clothing or selling a badge. It's about giving you the light. It's about giving you life. It honestly is. I'm just sat here. You know, I spoke to Jimmy 100 times, if not more. We've shared laughs. We've had conversations. But every time words come out of Jimmy's mouth, it's just like hearing something new all over again. It's just unbelievable. Jimmy has this power. I can't describe it. even now, I'm still listening in awe to everything that he has to say. And I just can't believe that your listeners, and I've seen it on your Facebook and so forth, that people hadn't heard of Jimmy. I'm like, what? How could you have not heard of Jimmy? But I'm so glad. I am so genuinely glad that Jimmy's now able to share so much more passion with so many more people that haven't heard the story. And it is just about being genuine and giving out everything, and it's amazing. I'm just amazed.
Well,
that
thank
he's here
you
now
very,
to
very
share the
much.
story.
You know, and I'll never give that piece up. But I've had some great teachers, and I'm getting all teary-eyed, but they're beautiful tears. They're sincere tears. And you know why I'll never give it up? Because I've had some great teachers. Iggy has been one of my greatest teachers. And the fact that now he's my friend, I was just an Iggy fan. You know what I mean? I was locked up in a mental institution after a suicide attempt years ago, where many have been. Those books by those icons that have been in the nut houses like Iggy, and when I got out, or even while I was there in the lockdown ward, I would just hear the lyrics to Iggy's songs in my head, and I would learn to read and write and walk again. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. It took 6 months to teach me to bathe once and a full year to read and write, and all I would hear was the Iggy songs. So when you go down to sincerity, Iggy gave me that life and that way back and that honesty. Or Debbie Harry, she's such another honest person. Or Slash, listen to a Slash guitar solo, dude. It is so real. It is so honest, dude. I was in Paris with him, dude, and I was on my knees. Oh, I was dancing I danced like a wild man on the side of the stage. And I was in Paris with them. Paris, the city of magic. It's gorgeous. It's so beautifully lit. The museums are great. The churches are great. Outside my balcony in my movie star robe, I would see the Eiffel Tower. Oh my God, it was awesome. Awesome. And being with Slash, he's just this everyday guy. In real life, he's a very polite, lovely gentleman, a good friend. We call each other up, and the lines are, how are you? We don't talk about guitars. We don't talk about songs. We don't talk about 1982. Sure. We talk about today and the beauty and the magic of life.
Testament to, here it comes full circle. I mean, you're a fan as much as I am, as much as everybody else, and you can hear in your voice the change. The joy comes out in your voice like it probably does in my voice and other fans' voices. Well, and that in itself is just a beautiful thing to hear, even from me. And I've had the opportunity to meet Slash in person, and I understand that and I get that. And do you know what? The most beautiful thing is that has brought us together. It brings millions of people together, and that is such a strong connection. It's undeniably powerful, the connection that people can have when they have this mutual respect and love for one another. It doesn't matter, what the subject is.
I think it brings you even to a bigger place than that. I think the reason it brings us together is because it brings us to truth. Like when I was in Paris and I was on the side of the stage, right? And I'm dancing like a crazy man. I'd never been to Paris before. I got swept away in talking about the magic of Paris. But there I am with Slash. He's my friend. But he's out there on stage, and this is where the Rocket Queen solo came. Okay. And no one knew this was going to happen. And he's standing there, and all of a sudden he breaks into a 21-minute solo. Due to those fingers just aren't stopping, and the sweat is pouring off, and the energy coming out of his body was overwhelming, and it was so strong, and the power of it going out to this French audience, you know what I mean? And half of them couldn't even speak English, but they were feeling it. And I just fell to my knees on that side of the stage from all out dancing, and I was bawling. Just bawling because it was so real and it was so honest and it was so true, and living that truth. Dude, and that was funny because I was watching Miles on the side. He kept running to run on stage. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. He's not done. He's not done. And then when Miles did run out, someone threw the big French flag up there. You know what I mean? The flag of France. And it just billowed down and Miles wrapped himself around it. And they all ended with Sweet Child. Now, if that's not life-changing and that doesn't have you be real and be true and like, you know what I mean, have the joy of the laughter of a 6-year-old child, or dress someone in the tightest pants ever, then you're just missing the whole point.
I'm curious of how, again, how do we even get to this point? How does somebody, you know, we could be here for an entire trilogy of podcasts to get everything.
Honesty. I'm going to just interrupt you and answer you honestly. When I first met Slash, he just came into the store. He wanted pants. I knew how to hook him up and find the right pants, and we just became friends. I don't know how it happens, whether it's Ewan McGregor or Debbie Harry or Liv Tyler or Steven Tyler or Iggy Pop. Iggy was my big one, I got to admit. But I just am honest with them, and I just treat them very human, and they appreciate the human, and they treat me like a human. And the next thing I know, I have their cell phone number, or they're inviting me to dinner, and it is what it is.
So they didn't know about, they weren't friends with you until the store? The store happened
until
first?
My last job recently, or just meeting people along. Slash always says he remembers me from the past. And Iggy would always say, "Oh, I saw Jimmy Webb in the audience," or whatever. I don't know. It just happens. If you let the magic happen, it happens. If you look on ineedmore, you know, the Instagram, dude, there's an amazing 6-year-old little boy who's watched me on Instagram with his mother. And I show up at work late the other day, and he's with Eddie in China, who worked there for me, and he's like 6, and he's just like, he goes, "Oh my God, you're Jimmy, you're Jimmy, you're Jimmy." Thank God I happen to have a real Slash guitar pick with me. Off Slash's guitar out of his pocket. I always annoy him and make him give me one. Like Chemo, the bodyguard. Like, I need a real one. Give me one that's been, you know, yours. And I saved them for that special God-given moment.
Oh, okay.
And I gave it to this little boy, right? And then I hooked him up and got him a leather jacket. And all of a sudden, this boy with this Ramones hair just starts screaming, "Rock and roll," and starts dancing. And that's the magic. How did that happen? It just happened.
Because these kind of people, because it's obvious once you meet you why it happens, right? But it's the opportunity, and it could be the universe or whatever it is, that, you know, if they find their store or find your store, however it is, they've had so many people come in and out of their lives. Let's just say that. And it's the special connection to you that, it's not just Slash. It's not just Ewan McGregor. It's Debbie Harry, and I'm currently wearing my Blondie t-shirt for you.
Yeah, honey.
It's Iggy Pop. The fact that you keep finding yourself in these situations after being so down and out, it seems, to befriend the Rolodex of the Hollywood stars. They've all. It's like they've all. I don't know. It's this weird connect the dots that all are connected to you.
Well, when Debbie Harry kisses you on the lips, life changes,
oh,
dude.
Wow.
It's like, dude, and I still know. She's my friend, as you all know, but she's got that magic like no one else has, but she's still just Debbie. But when I call her, and she's my friend, as you know, I'm a blubbering idiot. I'm just like a stupid boy talking to the most beautiful blonde in the world. She makes me nervous.
Yeah.
The power of a woman. Or when we were recently, like, I didn't go on tour with them, but I went with my amazing friend, David Godless. He's my travel buddy. He's got that amazing book, History at Night, and he took all those great photos. And he goes to me, he's good friends with Chris, too, so we'll go meet Blondie on tour every once in a while, dude. When Debbie just recently dedicated Heart of Glass to me, dude, I was like a puddle. A puddle. And that was just life-changing and very giving, and that makes me want to give.
That's what's so unbelievable. Again, there are, in all of our lives, there's somebody special, but for you to be that person to all these others who could easily be so defensive against meeting new people because they've been burned before, but again, they just meet you seemingly like right away, and you are just, it's like a lifelong friendship that just somehow picked up in the middle of both of your lives.
But I feel I try to have that with everybody that comes in the store. I have it with Lee.
You've been having it with me.
I have it with you. Right. It just started happening with you. Exactly. You have to be sincere and you have to be honest. Just like you have to tell someone when it's like bullshit. You know what I mean?
So where
like when Debbie doesn't like something, she tells me. Iggy's like straight up about it. Dude, it's like probably one of the best friends I could ever have. You know what I mean? And because he's so honest with me.
Where does that come from for you? Because I had to learn, I feel, the hard way. I was raised right, but it wasn't until I went through certain tragedies that really awoke in me and see how perhaps I come off to other people or how to treat other people. Like I didn't get it until tragedy struck my life with some family stuff that I had to go on. Were you always like this? Did you have to hit the depths?
No, I don't know. I think I also kind of appreciated like one of the most punk rock people I know was my grandmother. I had a really great grandmother, a really sweet grandmother. She was so cool, right? And she raised like 3 children alone because her husband died, my dad's father, when they were really young. So this is like the 40s or something like that. And she went and she scrubbed other people's floors to raise money and feed them and carried the buckets of water. Dude, and she was so sweet her whole life. She was like the most punk rock thing in the world. A woman in a man's world, raising 3 children alone, never being bitter. You know, and she dealt with me through everything. Like when I was in that mental institution and when I was a heroin addict, she kind of let me know she disapproved, but she loved me unconditionally. And I always used her as an inspiration. And I remember Grandma Webb. She was fucking awesome. Dude, I remember her. I would look out her little back window when I was a little boy, right? Standing on my tippy toes. And she had very, very little, right? Remember, you know, scrubbed other people's floors for a living, right? And all the little animals would come out of the woods to her backyard. The chipmunks, the squirrels, the robins, the blue jays, the rabbits. I'm like, oh my God,
lived
like
in a
story.
Disney film?
Yeah, literally. Because she gave so much love and they would come. Because if she had no exaggeration, like one piece of bread, you know, she would take half of it and break it up and throw it out to the animals. Mm. So she was the beginning of teaching me everything I know. Like, and that's Iggy. Iggy's a giver. Slash is a giver. Debbie is a giver. They're all givers. You can't be a taker. You have to be a giver.
Right on.
There's not enough people in this world that give, and I think that's what makes everything that Jimmy does so incredibly special, because we are exposed to so much stuff these days where it is all about take. And when you genuinely encounter somebody like Jimmy that just gives unconditionally, for some people it can be such a surprise, but it shouldn't be a surprise. That should be how people live. You know, we should all be giving regardless of where you're from, how you grew up, what your beliefs are. You know, we're all in this together. We ain't going to get out alive.
Don't worry about being a star. Just be. You know, in this day of social media, everyone wants to be a star. Everyone wants to be, but they don't know their history. Dude, I watch all these people quote Jim Carroll, Timothy Leary, whoever they're quoting, and they don't even put it in quotation marks or bow down to where they got it from. Do they even know where they got it from? Remember the Take a Walk on the Wild Side thing? Dude, I got to meet Lou. Rachel in Coney Island, baby. He sings to the end. I lived with her for a while. Well, we both slept on somebody else's floor in the 70s. It was great. You know, and I got to meet like Holly Woodlawn. I went on bended knee with Flower. She had given me so much by her mere existence. You know, I felt like I was meeting Princess Diana or Jackie Kennedy, 2 great other punk rock great women of punk rock, in my opinion.
And let's just make sure we take a moment to shout out all the grandmas.
Yeah.
I
have a grandma that wasn't so nice, too. She was a bitter woman.
Fair enough. The nice grandmas.
All the good grandmas of the world, right?
The good grandmas.
Let's be honest.
It's a thought that's going through my mind right now, and it, of course, connects to this GNR North Star that we do. You know, I really, because I'll just use my grandfather as a great example. He was the youngest of 6. He lived through the Great Depression, but he always gave. But he knew firsthand of what it was like to have nothing. Like his mom died when he was 6. You know, it was just, he lived through tragedies. But I would not have, I didn't know of any of it. You know, I only learned about it when he was older. So with someone like, then with me, even though I learned how to be nice and how to give, I didn't know the other end of it until I until I hit those rock bottoms with addiction, or losing my dad to suicide, a friend close, one friend I did lose, another friend I was close to it. So not until I hit those tragedies, and you don't want to live through them, of course, but sometimes that perspective there's perspective change. At least that's the silver lining of it all. But to get at a little bit of the morbid part of my thought here with GNR, it's the honesty that was the word that you were using before, the honesty. And they seem to be, since they're active again, that's what has made them last so long, is the honesty of the people, the honesty of the music. And I can see why you've connected.
All of them. Look at them. They're like look at them. They're like the Stones. Look at that honesty when it's up there on stage. I just got to see the Stones again. 7 seats from Jagger at the end of the runway. Fucking amazing. Talk about real. Talk about honest. But the Guns N' Roses thing, like that side of the stage in Paris thing, and that was with the Miles Kennedy thing, not the Guns N' Roses thing, but not the same, but just as powerful. Dude, every year, I think it's November 14th, I always want to call them and their manager and thank them and write a note on how life-changing, how they changed my life and enhanced my life. Every year. So I think it's going up on 4 years. I have it on the calendar like a birthday. Well, it was a rebirthday. You know what I mean? And if I don't get to write that letter, I'll be that honest, or call Slash or Jeff, the manager, or whoever, Miles, any of them. I thank them in my heart. So I wrote the letter within my heart. And Duff's the same way. Duff's awesome. You were talking about Loaded. I remember going to see them at the Gramercy, right? And Duff is such a giving person. His whole family. When I had the pleasure and luxury and blessing of launching his gorgeous daughter's clothing line at I Need More. What a magnificent day. And they're thanking me? No, I'm thanking you. You're the new generation. You're the future. Or watching Grace McKagan go, being part of these girls' lives that they give so much to me. History continues. How did I meet Duff? A pair of pants. My friend Anthony from Barney said, "Oh, you got to go see Jimmy." He goes, "Hey, I'm Duff. I'm Duff McKagan." I'm like, "I know who you are." And that was the birth of a beautiful friendship. And then we were everywhere together that whole year when he played Times Square. Anytime he was in New York, it would be like we'd get to hang.
Yeah, I have access through my job to Getty Pictures, so I've been posting a lot, and there are ones I found on the CBGB festival.
Yeah, right.
You were there, and you're showing off your back tattoo.
Yeah, in the little dressing room after, dancing on the side of the stage like a madman, dude. Or walking through the crowd with Duff, looking like either gay lovers or brothers. I can't quite understand. Same woman made our pants, and we're both blonde.
That's what I love, though, that it's not just you're friends with Duff, but you've kind of been embraced by their entire family, or vice versa. You've embraced his entire family.
Yeah, so just went to Rachel Ray with Susan. How punk rock is that, dude? Nice. When you're at the Rachel Ray show with Susan McKagan and I'm going to call her, and Megan's daughter, Lucy Blue. Dude, there's nothing more punk rock than that. And that's the gift, being open-minded. That's being rockin'. Oh, drunk on the floor, duh, no future. Dude, how un-punk rock is that in 2019? It is so lame. It is so, I believe in nothing. Then why are you here? I want to be here to live. I want to be here to give. That's what I Need More is about. People say, what does I Need More mean to you? And it's, I need more integrity. I need more character. I need more compassion. I need more forgiveness. Then I need more tight pants. I need more animal print. I need more jewelry. Now, the order is very, very real. And you know how I Need More happened? I was at my old job, which brought me a lot of blessings and was a beautiful training ground. I'm getting so out of breath because I'm so into this. And
it's okay. Take a breath.
Right. And I was at Carnegie Hall with Iggy, right? And I was like third row, watching my boy up there doing the Save Tibet thing, saving Buddhist monks in Tibet, but being more Iggy than ever, still being Iggy Pop in that same spot where the greatest of the greats have stood. Billie Holiday, Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli, countless others, And there's my boy, Iggy Pop, shirtless, being Iggy. And I'm like, oh my God. And Iggy's always the catalyst to me. The angels start talking to me. And they're like, Jimmy, you need to change it up. You need to find your very own Carnegie Hall. You need to reach for a star higher in the sky, just like Iggy has. And you need to swing from that star and grab onto that star and swing from that star. And I'm like, oh my God. And I just start crying because I knew it was the truth. There's my boy Iggy giving it to me from Carnegie Hall again. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, but how do you get there? And I was like, you run and you dive, just like Iggy. He runs and he jumps and he dives and he never knows where he's going to land, but he always believes he's going to land just right. And he does. And it's the Iggy Pop stage dive of faith. So the next day, or in a very short time, I went and I gave my notice at my job respectfully from, like a month's notice or so. It happened to be while Iggy was on tour and they wanted to invite me to all the next shows. But I kept my word, that integrity. I need more integrity.
Sure.
And I stayed the whole time. And that's how the birth of I Need More came. I gave notice.
Okay.
I just dived not knowing what I was going to do. And a year and a half later, I ended up with a store.
Right on.
Just to interject here, that is what I class the sliding doors moment, that something very similar, I should say, happened to me, where there's just an epiphany, and if you're open to it, you catch it, you get it, you make a decision, that sliding doors moment goes your way. But there are so many people that have that sliding doors moment and don't take that opportunity. They continue to, I don't know what it is, but when you're faced with making a decision, where I was made to decide between my job or my family, I took the choice of going, yeah, this is it. It was that Iggy moment where it was like, right, well, if I don't do it now, if I don't give you my notice now, I'm never going to do it. I had no money. I had no experience. I had nothing. The same as Jimmy, it was like now or never. If I don't do it now, it'll never happen. And so many people don't take the opportunity. More people should take that opportunity to just go for it. Do you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You find yourself really happy.
I agree, totally. I've had similar experiences after my dad passed. I was like, if I don't go back on the air soon, it's never going to happen.
There you go.
So 5 days later, I'm back on the air, even though I felt like I was a ghost. Or when my friend Scotto left this podcast, and I was like, what do I want to do with this? Am I going to go? What do I want to do with my career? I love board hopping, Keith Sweat's radio show, or doing all the stuff I do. My actual radio job. But what do I want to do with this podcast? And let's have conversations like this all through the threading the needle of GNR is to connect to. With all these people who have similar stories. We all have similar stories. We also have a similar band in common. But again, it's like, what do I want to do? I got to shit or get off the pot. And, I'm glad that you're living this dream out now. But to backstep a little bit, I'm assuming you had experience. Like, when did you start making clothes?
Clothes?
Yeah, I know.
No experience.
No experience. So
zero, dude, and that's the blessing.
So how did it happen?
When Jagger's screaming, it's just a shout away. Listen to the shout and listen.
Okay.
Listen to the shout and follow through. I don't know how I know clothes. I always like clothes. I'm good at clothes. Whatever. I had a knack for it. I just started doing clothes. Like I have a knack for being on television. Why? Because I tell the truth and I don't see the camera. I just talk honestly. But clothes just came to me naturally. It's what I do. I don't sing. I don't dance. Well, I do. I can tap dance like a motherfucker. I took tap dancing when I was a kid and I loved it. Probably can't do it anymore, but I used to tap dance. I don't play an instrument, but I sure do know clothes. Like I know, I've worked with so many people. When people say, and never be an elitist and call yourself rock and roll. Here's Iggy at Carnegie Hall, saving Buddhist monks, dude. Yo, 10 notches up, regardless of age, race, color, sexual identity. Just be. You know, I get a lot of shit for dressing when I used to dress Lil Wayne or I worked with Beyonce. Dude, they have just as much right to have what they want and find who they are as anybody on the
People
planet.
give you shit for working with them?
Yeah, whatever. You're a sellout. I'm like, oh, please, whatever, dude. It's like, no. I'm
Get
equal
outta here.
opportunity, and I'm about sharing it with it all. You know what I mean? I don't want to be an elitist.
No, that's get out of here. What
Yeah.
poser calls you a sellout?
A lot. You know, you say everybody loves me. Not everybody loves me. But you know why? If you don't stand for something, you'll stand for nothing. And with that, not everyone's going to love you.
Okay.
And that's rock and roll. But the talent for clothes, it just happened. But I just
love
find what makes you happy. I know how to make a set of boobs look good. I know how to make a rear end look good. I know how to zip a woman into a dress so she feels fabulous. I know. And I don't call them tricks of the trade. I call them an emotional experience you have with someone. Maybe that's a little gay to word it that way. I know, politically incorrect word, but I meant nothing bad by it. I just know how to make people feel good. Like I know, like Lenny Kravitz used to get a lot of shoes from me, or Prince for his band. His were custom made, or I worked a lot with him on the Super Bowl when he did the Super Bowl, and he sent his stylist back to me because I know the vibe he wants, because I know how he wants the band to look, because I know he knows how he wants to make them feel, so they can give the best music to the people. Like if Slash's pants aren't right, I have the same thing. If my pants aren't right, you're not going to get the best of me.
So you worked with Prince for the halftime show?
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
I think the stylist was Abby at the time. It was. She was amazing. Abby. She came back to me twice for Prince. I did Prince twice. And he was so nice. I mean, I wouldn't talk directly to him. One time I could tell. I don't usually tell this story, but I don't mind. He was like on the phone listening. I could tell, but he wasn't saying a word because that's just kind of how he is. You know what I mean? And I was so flattered. He was like, go back to that guy in New York. Same with Lil Wayne. I am the one that made Lil Wayne get tighter pants decades ago. You know what I mean? And it's like working with his stylist. And he was amazing and had awesome style. His Rolling Stone cover was him and I. Avril Lavigne's first Rolling Stone cover was like her and I hanging out.
I was in love
and we
with
were
her in
hanging. I
college.
know, she was so great. And we were hanging out in the back, and I'm dressing this young, kind of shy girl, and the woman with her is being a little overly protective in a good way, not in a bad way. And I'm like, what is this? I was like, true story. I was like, is this a milk carton kid? It's like, oh my God, is this like a kidnapped kid? And they're trying to this lady's trying to keep her all hidden. True story, dude. And it ended up being Avril Lavigne. They told me in the end it was her and I together working on what she wanted to look like for her first Rolling Stone cover.
You didn't even know.
Yeah, no, it was great.
That's incredible. Is that the one with the? I mean, I can look it up.
I think
now.
it's a little pleated skirt, a little blue or red plaid pleated skirt. That's a long time ago.
I know,
you know,
but it's reminding me of college when she would be my desktop wallpaper.
Yeah.
I had an Avril Lavigne problem.
Yeah, I liked her. She was nothing but nice, and so was her ex-husband, Derek from Sum 41. He was just as amazing. See, again, the diversity, you know.
So this is all again through word of mouth, saying, "See my boy Jimmy."
Yeah. When they did, Alice Cooper
amazing.
used to say, "Go see." Even though he's, then people move on. They do their other things, and I get more people or different people. Yeah, be like, "Go see Jimmy," because sometimes they'd have everything wrong. I'm like, he's not going to put that on. I know him. Let me just tell you. Let me just do this. Let me just help you out and send this too. And usually I'm right on target. Because I want to make people happy, everybody happy. And my name's not on that. Like Hedwig on Broadway, it was the stylist. What an amazing experience they were to work with, too. I love being... So that's the best thing. It's not about being the big fish in the little pond. It's about being the little fish in the big pond. Think about it. When you look in a fish tank, what are the prettiest fish? The littlest ones, because they're the colorful ones and the shiny ones, and they scoot all around. So I'd rather be the little fish in the big rock and roll pond than the big fish, because I get to be all the color. And no one knows all these things I do, but I get to be, oh my God, I'm going to cry again. I get to be this little piece of this great, big, beautiful thing that happens. This magic that happens on Broadway called Hedwig. I got to work one-on-one with the stylist, or I got to do 2 Madonna tours, you know what I mean, with Ariane Phillips.
Wow.
And man, those people work hard, you know, but you get to be this little piece of this great thing. Or the Super Bowl with Prince, you're seeing it, it's like, whoa, I did that. I picked that. I made them happy with that. It's awesome, you know?
And what's even more amazing, and it's been a testament to everything Lee has said about you and others have said about you, is that you're just beyond humble, where you just seem to take you take credit when it's brought up, but you don't show anything off.
See that amazing woman on your chest, Debbie?
Yes,
right?
my T-shirt.
She's not a bitch either. She's a really humble, great woman.
And
so is Marianne Faithfull, and so is Slash. Slash is one of, right? Lee, isn't Slash one of the most humble people in the world?
Oh, do you know what? You hear stories, and people always say never meet your heroes, but categorically, do you know what? That's the biggest false statement that I've ever heard. I mean, to be in his presence, and it just left me speechless, because he is just a normal human being, just like you.
So sweet, right? He's so nice. Yeah.
When you, and Jimmy may agree with me here, but when you deal with people either personally or professionally in the industry, you don't have to scratch the surface to reveal their true identity, because their true identity really is what you hear and see. There are some bad guys in the industry, but you know, I've never ever come across anybody, and I've worked with, you know, many people over the you know, the span of my career, and Slash and Jimmy, and you know, genuine doesn't even come close. If there was another word to describe genuine, if there is one out there, then that's them.
And Duff and my friend Mae McKagan and my 2 employees, China. It's great to see a new generation do it. And Eddie, you know, want to be humble and want to learn, because it's all about learning.
It's amazing. You don't need experience. Like going back to what Jimmy said, he had no experience in sewing or you know, physically making. But when you've got the passion, I had no experience when I started. I couldn't remember anything. I had nothing. I had a box of tricks that I had carried from 15 years ago in my college days, and I just had a go at it. But I had the passion to do it, and I think that probably carries you through over and above everything else. If you've got the passion, if you've got the desire, you will succeed. And if you've got the integrity and you're genuine with it, you know, the sky and beyond is your absolute limit.
Right. And then you have to... Here's what I learned. Like, I took all my street smarts. I'm a street kid, dude. I'm a runaway street kid. I grew up in the streets of New York City. You know what I mean? And I lived a very crazy-ass life. From the dance floor of Studio 54, the only punk rock boy I would see back then, safety pinned close together, dancing the night away at Studio, to running to the Mud Club, or, you know, wherever, you know, all the eras of music and clubs, to end up being a junkie, living in a cardboard box, to end up turning it around and getting clean and sober like all the survivors ever did, and getting out like fully healthy, you know what I mean, which is extra blessing. But then when you turn all of that around and turn it into positive energy, then I had to learn from what I call the greats. I always tell my employees, because you got to make a buck. You and I were talking about this earlier before the radio show began. To stay alive, I got to pay the rent. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like, you know, it's, you know, money makes the world go round. Money pays the rent.
You need to eat.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to the cardboard box. That was free, but that was a pain in the ass. You know, it's like, so I learned from the greats, and it's like, how do I want to run my business? How do I want to make my own little personal empire? Let's call it an empire, because you cherish it. It's your heart, right? It's your baby. Mm-hmm. I need more as my baby. And how do I want to keep my baby alive? Well, you need to pay the bills to keep the baby alive. And then I started. And you have to feed the
baby, don't you? You have to feed the baby the right food. And this comes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago. You know, you have to have the right things in your store to fit your client base, and you have to make sure that you've got the right suppliers, because you like you say, you've got bills to pay, you've got rent to pay, just like everybody else. So it's absolutely...
that's kind of like, I think that's kind of part 2 though. part one is like, well, how do you do that? You know what I mean? How do you do it? And you find, having been very, very fortunate and being trusted, because live by never kiss and tell, never write the book, and you'll always be invited back. Don't betray people. It's not a good thing. It's not a good look either. To be a betrayer? No. Ugh, what an ugly look.
Unless you're like in an HBO show or something.
So I can't think of anything more unattractive. But I would... I just want to finish this, okay? I just want to finish this. I would watch the Iggy's and the people he surrounds himself with. And I would watch Slashes and the people he would surround himself with. And the band Blondie and who they would surround themselves with.
It's important.
And Duff. And they always surrounded themselves with the best trusted workers. I always saw the same people on the tours called back in. You know, like Sam, who works for Slash, is one of the most hardest working men in rock and roll. They're all hardworking. And they're all right on target. Chemo, the bodyguard. You know, Cheryl, the manager for the Miles Kennedy, the Miles Kennedy Slash conspirators thing. Amazing hard worker. Iggy's been with Henry forever. His wife is the most amazing. They all have beautiful women in their lives who stand behind them strong. But if you have to have that hard-working, sincere, honest ethics, desire and the ethics to do it right, you know?
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. And since you are so humble and have this great vision, I can't just Google it and know these things. I want to know who else you've worked with throughout the years that you were just too humble to, wear on your sleeve. I mean, you talk about Prince, you talk about Madonna. Like, who
I don't know
else
anybody and everybody.
With?
I would more, who I just met, dude? It's like he came to the store and I was like, oh shit, dude. Because seldom do I go, oh shit, dude. It's like, yo. I was late for work a little bit on Sunday, and my boy Eddie, who works for me, calls me up, and he tells me he says there's these people waiting for you. He says, and one of the names he says is Ringo, right? But I'm not quite thinking, right? And I'm late, and I'm booking it to work, and I'm like 15 minutes late. Oh, my God. Again, the Slash tie together. So I walk into the store, and it's like Ringo Starr. And I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, my God. And he's with the most amazing group of people. His, that all-star band he has. They brought them to meet me, and him to meet me, and I couldn't even believe they were waiting for me. That made me feel good. And I walked right up, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, you're Ringo Starr. I was like, Slash mentioned you a lot and really nice things about you. And he goes, yeah, his mom used to make me clothes. And it was just like such a beautiful thing. He was the most amazing man to me, and he was exactly as you would expect him to be.
Wow.
And he was so peaceful and making him happy, and the wonderful people he was with clothes, making all their dreams come true again was just such a great honor and pleasure in my day.
Wow.
Dude, then I dialed Slash after. I was like, oh shit. No, I'm texting him. Look really quick. He's a texter, Slash. I'm like, dude, Ringo Starr was here. Guess the first thing Slash says is, yeah, my mom, I remember when I was little, my mom used to make him clothes. I was like, that's the exact thing he said to me. I told him you say.
That's brilliant.
Or Naomi Campbell, dude, meeting Naomi Campbell. I was open like a week, and I got this amazing opportunity where they shot her in my window. They even paid me a lot of money to do it.
Nice.
That was the blessing. It helped pay the rent. And watching Naomi Campbell be Naomi Campbell, I was in tears. She was awesome. Awesome.
Just unbelievable. Just that you are a destination, not just for Lee in the UK to come here, but Naomi Campbell and Ringo Starr.
Yeah, but I want to add, it's like, it's not about those people. Mm-hmm. It's not just about those people. That's my blessing, and the support they give me is absolutely amazing. I probably wouldn't make it if they didn't bow down and all throw on an I Need More shirt. The Debbies, the Iggies, the Duffs, the Ewans, whoever, all over, the new breed, you know what I mean? Jesse Rutherford. I've known anybody from the beginning. I remember My Chemical Romance. I did their first album cover before they got Best Album.
Really?
Yeah, Gerard and that whole band was great. are the beginnings of Good Charlotte. They were the nicest people, you know?
See, like, that's just amazing to me because those are people I grew up with, really. I mean, given my age group, I would play my Chemical Romance on college radio, put it that way, before I'm Not Okay and everything broke. And I would look to them and their style, like, man, why can't I look that cool? So, and same thing with Good Charlotte at the time. So, wow, that's incredible. But I have to know, did Ringo buy anything?
Yes.
What did he buy?
God, I can't remember. They bought a bunch of shirts, some jackets. It was a group of people. And they were all so pleasant and nice. And they were just, you know what my favorite thing he bought was? An I Need More tote. A dude who was like, I gave it to him, of course.
A tote
They spent
bag?
a lot of money. Yeah, they spent a lot of money. They helped pay the rent for the day, that's for sure.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and they came in with no expectation. You know, because you do meet, not everyone's lovely. There are dicks out there, and there
Sure.
are bitches out there. I'm so-and-so, and I feel you should give it to me. Well, I can't. I'm not that guy that can afford to do that, you know?
Just give it, get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And what makes you any different than Slash, who wants to pay, or Debbie, or anybody
I know.
like that, you know?
Does Slash buy his rings that we've been hearing all episode from your store? Have you given Slash a ring?
No, you know, he gets a lot of leather jackets. He used to get all his top hats from me, and not the original one. And then he
Sure.
got all the top hats for years. And then the amazing, wonderful love of his life, Megan, just recently had a custom top hat made for him. So he doesn't get top hats from me anymore, but that's okay.
I think that's okay. For me.
Yeah.
What is Duff gotten? Because he's worn the shirt on stage.
Yeah,
but
Duff gets a lot of. They're all. Oh my God, Slash gets a shitload of T-shirts. Now I just hunt for T-shirts for him because he's got. He must have, I can't even imagine how many T-shirts he's got. I want to say thousands. He's a T-shirt pig. He loves T-shirts.
He's a walking meme.
Yeah, it's like
I love that he got you into Instagram because Slash is the best follow because he just posts these crazy ass pictures.
Yeah.
That just right up my alley as far as sick sense of humor. So
yeah, I like
glad
how
got
he
you
doesn't
into it.
expose himself personally, which I do the exact opposite of. Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice little romantic story that Megan does on her Instagram. It's like following the Notebook rock and roll version.
Yeah, well, they love each other. It's amazing. You know, it's great to see my friend happy. You know, all how Duff loves Susan. Watching them be in love is like amazing. You know, or Iggy and his amazing, gorgeous wife Nina. You know, I love that all my friends are in love.
I mean, this has been a real pleasure, Jimmy, and I mean, I can keep you here all day because every time we're just talking for a little bit, you keep dropping these nuggets of just, holy crap, you work with this person. Holy crap, you experienced this in your life. I mean, you say you don't want to write a book because you want to be invited back, but I hope you do at some
Well,
point.
I could write a book on the shore of the joys of life. That's for sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
A self-help book.
I could even you know, write a book on the, you know, ups and downs of friends. There's no downs in friendships because they're all learning experiences.
That's a good way to look at it. You know what? Let's ask some music questions, if I can.
Okay.
What's the best concert you've ever seen?
Oh, come on,
Top.
dude. It's like
Is there a handful of like special ones that you've been to that really stick out in your mind? Maybe like one or two.
everyone. First of all, let's start right here. Every Iggy show is amazing. All right. Slash in Paris, as he is in most places,
Sure.
amazing. You know what I mean? Every time I see the Guns N' Roses thing, and I didn't, you know, I had been so spoiled in traveling around with Slash, meeting up for a few days and trusted to live right on the bus, which is like, you know, they work hard, dude. They're always in another city. They're always on another plane. They're always on another. It's not the big glamorous thing you think it is. And then you're locked in a room.
Sure.
You know, the dressing room forever. It's not horrible, but it's not this big glamorous, beautiful thing you think it is. There's magical, amazing moments. But dude, it is what it is. Then you go out there and they just give, right? So it's a lot. So, watching Debbie sing makes me melt. It's so beautiful.
Who did you see at? I'm assuming you were at the original CBGB's, right?
Yeah, but I was so blasted. Come on, that's a different era. That's like asking me what was your favorite night at Studio 54 or the Mud Club, or Danceteria. Duh. I don't know. That was a drug-induced life.
Because I'm just curious if you got to see Blondie or the Ramones at CBGB.
I'll tell you my favorite night at CBGB's.
Okay.
That I get to. The second to last night. Talk about emotion. Well, previous to that, it wasn't a night, but when New York City named the street after Joey Ramone, Joey's mom, God rest her beautiful soul, had asked me to be one of the speakers.
Oh, wow.
I was like, yeah, oh, wow, it's right. I was like, wow, okay. So I had gotten there really, really early, and I ended up like right on the side of the stage up front. And I got to help everybody on stage. And that would be a whole episode, the story of that night. And it was when my turn. I was like, no. I was just like, there's so many other people here that are more important in Joey's life than me. And she goes, no, you're important to Joey. You were important to Joey and you're important to me. You're going to speak. And I stood up and I went out on that stage. And it was like, whoa, that room was so filled with love all the way to the back. And I knew it had taken over 3 blocks outside because someone had told me, and the story I had to tell came straight from my heart. We'll save that one for another episode. And it was amazing. And I remember Jim Jarmisch, one of my favorite people on the planet now, wasn't my friend back then, becoming his friend and his, partner in life, Sarah Driver. Oh, that's a blessing of this year, of last year. And he came right up to me after in all his magnificence, telling me, how powerful it was what I said. So that's one of my number one favorite nights at CBGB's. But my number one is the second last night of the club. And Debbie was singing. Debbie was the second to last night. Patty was the last night. And I went, and when you go see Debbie, you always bring flowers, and not street flowers, all right? You order them from a fancy florist. And I walked to that
I'm
venue.
assuming you didn't go to a gas station.
Right, yeah, not even. I have a very special florist, Elizabeth Ryan Florist, who I always get my flowers from and send them to all the fabulous men and women in my life. And I walked through that crowd with the flowers above my head because it was packed. And I walked right towards the stage as she was singing. And I went up and I bowed. I went to hand her the flowers and she goes, come on up here, with her one finger. And I went up on stage and she grabbed my face and she kissed me on the lips. And I'm like, and I melted and she held the flowers and she continued to sing. Well, all of a sudden, moments later, it hit me. This is the second to last night of a beautiful piece of my life and history. And I started getting very, very overwhelmed. And I just had to leave. I just couldn't do it. So I cry right now. I turned around and I started heading out the door. And Debbie started singing, call me anytime. And I just bawled. I left. And it was the last song I ever heard in CBGB's. And she still had my flowers. And it was so much to me. I walked all the way over from there on the Bowery to the west side till I hit the water. And then I knew I had to turn around and go back because I lived on the east side.
Jeez.
And it was one of the most powerful, beautiful moments ever in my life.
That sounds like a dream, and you lived it.
Yeah, magical.
Just one of many magical moments in your life, and I'm so glad that you're here to share them, to relive them, because you're really putting us in the moment. And again, it's Christmas Eve. I would be thanking you for your time anyway, but for you to take time out of your day, and your friend Jeff, who came down here as well. So you were, you're here with friends.
Yeah, good friends.
You're here with good friends.
Jeff's a good friend.
Jeff is a beautiful human as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Jeff has a couple of Lee's pieces. He got all this custom work from her through the store. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
This has been a great moment for me, for Lee to have reached out to I have so many wonderful listeners who reach out, who whether share stories or try to connect me with other people, and it's all for a positive reason. So to be here in this moment, to relive these moments with you, to connect with Lee, thousands and thousands of miles away, it's just it's special. So just thank you for your time, and as you alluded to before, you're always welcome back. If there's a sale at I Need More and you want help promoting it, please let me know.
I'll come anytime. Just ask. You know what I mean? We'll make the time. We'll make it happen. I just hope I didn't chatter too much and there was some kind of continuity. Like, I love life so much. And life has been so good to this little runaway boy that came here in 1975 that I'd just like to thank everybody that has stepped foot in that store. You don't have to have a big name. You just have to have a big heart. And I just want to thank everybody that helped make me and all my dreams come true.
Well, for those of you who, whether you're local or not, obviously people from all over the world are coming to I Need More in New York City, 75A or Orchard Street, or is it Orchid Street?
Orchard.
Orchard. You never know. Yeah. And obviously at I Need More, you could buy Lee stuff. So Lee, before we get out of here, before you get those last minute cookies and milk out before Santa comes. Well, that was really terrible. That's what happens when a Jew tries to make a Christmas joke. It's not working. Anything else you want to add? Anything you want to ask? I
want to say thank you to two people and their parents.
Sure.
I want to say thank you to Nico in Florida and Julian right here in New York. They're both 6 years old. They're both so rock and roll, and they make me know and prove there is a future. So thank you, Nico. Thank you, Julian. You are rock and roll.
All right, so we got to make sure they listen to this podcast. Lee, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
I am so glad that you took opportunity to listen to the reason why I thought Jimmy should come on the show. Aside from his amazing stories, he has such an amazing message to give out to people that is so unique, and I love him so much. Jimmy changes lives, whether it just be through the small things or the big things. You always remember where you were when you met Jimmy, and it doesn't matter who you are. He just takes that little piece of your heart and he keeps it warm till the next time you speak to him or the next time you see him. He's the most genuine human, and I wish every success for his business, because I can only see it increasing, getting better. But that's just testament to Jimmy and the love he has to give to the world. I have so much respect for Jimmy, unbelievably. I think he's he's the strongest, most amazing human ever, more than you will all ever know.
Well, I hope
Thank you, Lee.
We were able to capture at least some of that today, because that's kind of how I felt. I'm like, where do I even start with this guy? And it just wanted to happen naturally, just like everything else. Just happen. That's how you can't help but be around Jimmy Webb, is just be natural, organic, and I just knew that's how the conversation was going to flow. So thanks. Until next time, that does it for this episode of Appetite for Distortion. Whether you listen on the iHeartRadio app, you found us through alternativenation.net, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, however you listen, it doesn't matter. Thank you so much. Tell a friend. And when will you see the next episode? Well, in the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.
Thanks to the lame-ass security, I'm going home.